it's a dye pigment fusion. That's the thing about distress oxide. It is a combination of dye and pigment in a pad. The pad itself is a felt pad. It is not a foam pad, so it is the same solid pad as your distress inks. But the fact that we have dye and pigment, it's very interesting because a dye is just going to be translucent. A pigment is just going to be opaque. But the cool thing about oxide is when you wet it, like we did here, you get this separation of dye and pigment. And this little trio is a great example to show you. That's just stamped. So if you stamp the oxide and you were done, it's a cool pigment ink. It's going to dry quickly. You can emboss with it. If I spray it, it's going to start.
So guys, I just want to let you know we're going to record this, but I can't see the comments. So if you're commenting or asking questions, I'm not seeing that, and I apologize.
My dye goes everywhere, but my pigment image remains. That's what makes it really interesting. That's what makes it really interesting. So here I'm just going to go into kind of this Easter egg mess to start with. We'll be able to, we'll make this a bit grungy, don't you worry. And this is all about layers. It's really important when you're layering color that you need to dry between layers. So in order to layer, we must dry. If we want it to blend, it stays wet. So if I just kept going into this same step without drying in between, it would all blend together into mud. And this doesn't have to be completely dry, just dry enough that my next layer will actually sit on the top.
So the oxide, when it's dry, because of the pigment aspect of it, does it become permanent?
No, because dye and pigment is simply a colorant, not a property. So the pigments are what's giving it kind of that opacity, but it's not making it permanent. So there's water-based pigments, and then there are permanent pigments. It all comes together though. That doesn't hurt to ask, because then you talk about distress paint, you're like, oh, I understand, it's a pigment, that's why. It's like, no, it's the property of that paint that's making it. Now, as you can see as this dries, see how my color is starting to oxidize? See that kind of white cast over the top of it? So good. So good. And we're going to go in and add another layer of color. And now I want to break this down. So I want to add some of that water in there to really get this color to kind of move and manipulate. The beauty of the oxides. And as it dries, that's when you're going to see it. I mean, I'll just hold the heat there so you can watch it. Because when you wet it, it just looks like ink, but now you see when it's drying, look, it gets that kind of haze. She's so good. That is awesome.
10 bucks a stamp on their color.
Absolutely perfect.
That's amazing.
Black, craft, any of that. It can blend, it can stamp. Yeah, you can do any of those surfaces. We do a lot of it's a very interesting kind of dynamic when it comes to the color. I'm going to go into here. You'll see a little pink in there. Let's go in and add some of that. Another interesting effect when you're working with this is the fact that because it is a little bit of that dye pigment, I have the ability to add a light color on a dark surface. And of course we're going to add more purple because we've covered it somewhere. So we bring it back. Again, another cool feature of our oxides. That if you were going to try to add purple over an inked layer, purple over anything is brown. Yeah. But here we're just going to go in. That's going to add purple. Right over the top of it. Let's try that. Look at that. Cool. Look at that. See where I'm going for that? Look at that. I want that. I want that. Yeah, when you see that good thing pull up, you're like, I'm keeping that. And you'll see as it dries, there's our purple coming in. So when you're first doing it, you're like, oh, it's not working.
So for those of you just joining, this is Tim Holtz showing the distress oxide inks, which look very cool. I cannot wait to show these off.
And it's really one of those products that, I mean, you have to see it to totally grasp it. Because you can hear about it and you're like, it's kind of like distress. Okay, but when you see it in action, it's kind of like distress, but it's nothing like distress in the sense of what it can do. But I also like just kind of combining it with distress. Let's put a little bit of that. I don't want that trapped pistachio going to waste. I just use a little, I won't use much. I really like where we're going with this. Look at that cracked pistachio sitting there. Watch when that dries. You're gonna get that really cool pistachio green sitting right on the top of that purple. You can't do that with dye ink. You just can't.
Nice.
So, and I'm just doing this on the craft sheet. So everything I'm doing on the craft sheet, this could have been a stencil. So if I was happy with my inky background, I could have placed a stencil, oxide, blending tool, and stenciled the layer. So don't always think that you have to do all this water or splatter thing. I'm just showing it because it is the quickest way to show you how to layer. But if you wanted to layer an ink, you could go in with a stencil and layer your oxide. But to see the difference between a background from something that's normally like this, which we love, this is distress ink, love these colors, same exact colors as an oxide, totally different. Because we have that oxidizer that doesn't come off, doesn't rub off, but when you feel it, it literally feels smooth. The camera can feel it. Feel that material.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Feel it,
it's very
baby.
suede-y. Yeah, it is. It's cool. But I mean, pass it around and kind of get that feel. But look at those colors. And you saw I kept going into that hot mess. Orange and pink and purple and blue, and that would have been an absolute nightmare on
That is
anything else.
amazing.
But with oxide, you get every bit of that. And it didn't matter what layer you started.
These are gonna make everyone look like a pro.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Nice stuff.
10 minutes. What? 10 minutes. Okay. Yes, thank you. Yes. This one I committed to Linda, but I'll sign you one, I promise. Because I threw in Violet. 'Cause it's a pig's name. Yeah. Listen, you have a pet pig like I did. Something about that. Yeah. Well, your pig is much bigger than mine. Oh, my pig, when I had my pig for 5 years, my pig was literally the size of like a Cocker Spaniel, smaller. Litter box, walked on a leash. It's crazy. It was a busker, wanted a bath.
Oh, we're gonna go over this way. I'm gonna take a look at, show you what he was using in this video, which is the distress oxides, which are these right here. So that's what he was using, and I was pretty impressed with. I thought, okay, this is going to be a mess, which usually I throw away, but as you can see, it was pretty impressive.
Mini snips, he was giving away Sizzix with a new dye. There's a make and take it advantage, there's a full bag it advantage.
You want to do pictures? Excuse me.
Hey, how are you, Miss Nancy Natalie?
Pretty good, pretty good.
So you guys, these are pretty cool. As you can tell, you saw him using those, and what I liked about it is he did say it was kind of a mess, and he kept putting more and more colors on it. So this is a pretty cool, and the results speak for themselves. Take a look at this. These are going to be huge.
Anything and everything.
Wow.
Many colors we want. It's really, they just.
All right, guys, so that was a sneak peek at those Distress Oxide. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will be back soon.
So I guess
Say hi.
Hi, everybody. Are you doing YouTube?
Yeah.
And we're doing Facebook.
There you go.
Great. We're doing.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, everyone.